actually show it off on the screen here. This is what the original old version of it looks like, and we just recently released a demo version of it, so I might as well actually start a little bit on playing on this, because I don't think I did a devs play on this game earlier, and I probably should. This is available on GameJolt. You can easily find it at GameJolt.com and search for Not a Clone. So yeah, let's just kind of get started on it real quick. And then I'll get back to the demo as soon as I can. But yeah, this is kind of like the original version of it, and you can see that, you know, Not a Clone itself is already marked as a clone of WarioWare Inc., which clicking on these actually opens a URL to, and so forth. But anyways, this was actually, I made this kind of like as a two-part reason. The first and the most obvious reason being that I was not feeling too great about the current state of the mobile game market. And I'll explain you a little further as to why I felt that way. But the other reason actually was because Unity just recently, by the time I started working on this, it was like a full year and a half ago, recently released a new UI library, and I wanted to sort of a game for one game a month to practice on using that UI thing. So you might notice that there's a whole lot of animations on the UI. The reason because of that is because I was just trying to practice and learning how to create these fancy animations using the UI framework that Unity created. So that's actually part of the reason why I created this. But yeah, let's actually start playing it. It's not exactly the fun thing to kind of listen to me. So Fungus Man. So this is obviously based off of Timberman. And you can kind of see like how the animation here works. This is sort of like going down a memory lane. I'm already seeing like all sorts of really big flaws. Wow, I'm really not used to the fact that the instructions just kind of disappears really quickly. Oh my goodness, this game is terrible. So when I mentioned earlier that I had a specific opinion about how I wasn't exactly a fan of the way the mobile game industry was working out. And my main reason for saying that is that was that, like, you know, I have actually made a couple of mobile games before, and the thing that I wasn't that huge of a fan of was a lot of the people who try to buy games on the App Store usually relies only on the top charts, and you know, that's kind of like the first place they go for to buy games, and that's where they end, right? They don't try to look at the front page even. They just go to like, oh hey, there's a top selling or top grossing list, so we might as well just access that and play it. And you know, to me that's terrible. The curation on the App Store is like absolutely atrocious because of that, in my opinion, because people just keep relying on using... Oh wow, that's really small for some reason. People just keep relying on the top charts to determine their, and this game has always been slow, to determine their purchasing decision. And I've never been a fan of that. I feel like if, you know, if the App Store, oh, it froze. Perfectly normal. Okay. You know, the decision being like, oh, I'm not even sure where I was at the last point. At least the way I was thinking of it was, you know, I would have liked it if it was easier for newer games to have a spotlight, right? And I mean, like, I understand that today there's way too many games being released on the iOS store, so like that's getting harder and harder to do, but... Oh, okay. I didn't see that through. Alright, this game gets really hard. I guess not. It is getting faster, by the way, I noticed. Yeah, there's just threes. So I was just kind of like making this game that its UI, at least the background of it, makes it clear that it's supposed to be like a top charts. But like the game that are actually on there are basically either just clones or really bad games. And at least to me, like that was the intent of like demonstrating that this is not good. Oh wow. Yeah, and that game over screen was never very efficient. So this is actually the reason why, you know, I have all these statistics letting you know that a lot of these games were actually clones, man, and you should think about what you've done. So that's that game, and obviously, you know, by the stream's name here, we did release a new demo. So I'm gonna switch up to that. See if I can get this working. There we go. Nice. It's thinking. So we added in a loading screen. Oh, interesting. It didn't show the first set of instructions, but that's all right. So we added in a loading screen now that kind of makes it more obvious that instead of just making a WarioWare clone, we actually had like a lot more self-awareness in it. And you know, if you were to play the demo a couple of times, you're gonna get a new loading screen each time. I'm pretty sure people who already played the demo are looking at this and saying like, we didn't get this the first time around. But yeah, this is our new demo screen. It says, you know, over 5,000 new apps are released a day as of 2016. No wonder app developers have a hard time standing out from the crowd. And yeah, that's basically like, so that's one of our first methods of improving on the old prototype to make it obvious that we have a lot of self-awareness behind, you know, the games that we're making. Also, you know, a lot of people had a hard time figuring out how to play each individual game. So not only do we have like a how to play here that for 8, you know, the whole point of the 8 is to merge two tiles with the same number by sliding them into the same space. And then, you know, we can actually practice the game. If you actually played the old prototype, you wouldn't notice that there's actually difficulty levels in each minigame, but in the new version we did add them. There's 3 different difficulty types, you know, easy, hard, and medium. So this is like already right here we're adding a lot more better sound effects as well as different difficulty levels, a more obvious like increase in difficulty and so forth. We also added in a couple of unlockables. In the demo, there isn't anything to unlock. That's why it says 15 out of 15. But we already have like double the number of mini games in there, so that's cool. Audio. We really should have added this in the original prototype. That's my fault, but yeah, that's in there. Language. Pig Latin. So fun fact, Pig Latin is there to make sure that, you know, it's a placeholder language for us to make sure that that language system is working. So it does actually serve a purpose from a development perspective. We have a very long credit sequence versus the old one, which basically I just made it alone by myself in that 1 month. And the shop button, which right now all it does is just shows this, enjoy the demo, and talks more about things. You know, this will eventually, in the full release, be an actual shop button that you can enter. So, without further ado, let's actually try playing this game. So, if you happen to have like a Windows build, you might notice that the mouse actually remains confined within the game. That is on purpose because a lot of people have I've noticed from Let's Plays that a lot of people, like, their mouse will go off the screen and that would ruin their gameplay. So that has been added specifically for the Windows version. As far as I can tell, neither the WebGL, the web version, or the Mac version has that. So, you know, that's already been a couple of conveniences added in there. You might also notice that the transition from one minigame to another is actually a lot slower. And part of it is because we're now showing a lot more instructions as to how to actually play the game. You know, drag and release, sling. So like we're now giving them two different instructions. The first one, which is what gesture they're supposed to use, and the second one, which is, you know, the actual objective of the game. Yeah. Come on, that didn't count. No. So yeah, we obviously cloned a lot more games as well as make more original games as well. For example, we don't have Make Me Happy in the original version. Let's say you're incredible, wonderful, and incredible. So challenge mode is new. We needed some, you know, it's one of those things where we wanted to add in a method for a player to regain their life. So kind of like at random, challenge mode determines whether you increase your score by 4, making it a lot easier to get to the harder levels of the game, which I'm already at. Like right after this, I'll be getting a speed up, which would put me at the hardest difficulty level. Speed ups also increases the difficulty of all the mini games. Yeah. So already you can tell that all the mini games are now a lot harder because I jumped over a couple of challenge mode to reach all the way to a score of over 20. Yeah. Come on, there we go. Oh no! What have I done? No, this is not happening. Now, admittedly, this game was made with iOS in mind, so some of the challenge mode timings, or some of these mini games, the times are a little too short for PC, which I confess needs to be solved. We did want to get the demo out as soon as we can, so there was a small bit of rush job here and there. Alright, cool. The music is now no longer from Kevin MacLeod anymore. You can tell from the credits that it's created by Spencer Bambrick, who's absolutely talented. Alright, cool. Okay, I'm already scoring a lot higher. So that's good. You know, that graphic remains the same, but for the most part, most of the graphics has been replaced. Oh, well. Most of the graphics has been replaced by our artist, Astra. Yeah. There we go. So like, yeah, Flappy Sombrero is now a lot harder. I haven't had any challenge mode that says I get 1 life. Yeah! Alright, well I'm gonna keep that time. As far as I can tell, only Into the Cup needed to be longer. Ah! Canabot does have a little bit of ghost jumping, which probably a lot of people will take advantage of. Ghost jumping being like the small grace period where you fall off the edge. You can still jump. Awesome. Make Me Happy probably will be a lot harder, given that our writer, Robert, wanted to make it a lot more sophisticated than it currently is right now. Alright. Oh, there's some weird artifacts going on at the bottom there. Okay. Yeah. It's not immediately obvious because I'm using a mouse, but a good couple of these games actually support multi-touch. Fortunately for the demo, it's not necessary. 7. Fortunately for the demo, it's not necessary to use multi-touch at all, but, you know. If you are using a device that happens to have multi-touch capabilities, we will take advantage of it. Oh, whoops, there's actually one minigame that requires multi-touch regardless. I think we did make it such that it'll still work on the PC as well with a single mouse. Like, it emulates the multi-touch in a different way. But yeah. Oh, there's a challenge mode that gives us 1 life. You probably have noticed this, but challenge mode, like, even if you die on a challenge mode, nothing happens. It just immediately moves right to the next minigame. And, you know, that's kind of on purpose. Awesome. Because it's really hard to play through challenge mode, so... We didn't want to punish the player for not being able to get something that was, you know, be able to beat something that was deliberately designed to be a lot harder. Yeah. Alright, so at this point I'm just showing off. Yeah. And 9. What? Darn it. I think also the speed up is a lot slower in the demo versus in the original prototype, because prototype starts like really fast. Oh right, because whenever you go to challenge mode, the time scale only goes up by a tiny, like, millisecond or something. Getting those ropes working was really hard. You can probably check it out on our YouTube channel, where I completely fail at making those rope work. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really just showing off at this point. I should really consider not scoring as high as possible. The time scale increase is, as far as I can tell, or is memory serves correct, is logarithmic. Oh, okay. Yeah, I really need to kind of consider fixing that minigame a bit. Yeah, lots faster. There's a ghost jumping. Oh, tap the dark tiles. So sometimes the instructions completely invert on you. You can tell because of the color of the little instruction thingies will tell you the complete opposite of what you normally do. I'm kind of happy to actually show that off. That's actually a new feature as well. Yes, you need to read the instructions of the game because it will change up on you. Okay. Thanks to Lauren and Chase for the voice acting. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Three, 1, 8. Got it. I didn't think I will, but I did. Yeah! I don't know if anyone understands, earlier I said like the speed up is logarithmic. Basically, the higher the difficulty gets, the slower the increase of the speed up. Oh, okay, Clyde. Got it. The instructions only invert if you played a game a couple of times. I believe we check to see whether you won on the game at least 3 times before you start showing those instructions. A couple of them do not change to inverted regardless of what you do, only because of the fact that we could not come up with an opposite. But most of them do, so hey. Yoink. 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 Oh, what? No! Incredible. I think I put too much time on that game, to be honest. But then again, like, we are planning on making it harder. So, there's that too. Oh gosh. No! Piano tiles, I'm gonna get back at you someday. 2048. This is just any visual novel. Alright, oh, I got on 3 digits. Didn't expect that. Shoot, only 3. 1, 2, 3. That one's, Ridiculous Fishing. This is obviously Angry Birds. Actually, I think I originally called that minigame just Slingshot in the prototype, but then eventually changed it to, hey, let's mark it as a clone of Angry Birds. Because I don't think I had that in mind when I was making it, ironically. That is definitely a Jetpack Joyride. Fruit Ninja. Oh gosh, okay, so that's another minigame where the timer needs to change. Oh, okay. Of course it's Flappy Bird, that'll do it. Yay, new best! My high score, yeah, I have 105. This is like the first time I apparently played this game. Cool. This list is really long. Alright, okay, in its peak popularity, 1 in every 3 apps to come out on the mobile market was a Flappy Bird clone. This is sadly true, and the probability statistics are written down here, with the original being 38 and the clones being 70. I think it's kind of allocated that way because of the we don't have all the minigames up on the... Yeah, we don't have all the minigames unlocked yet. But yeah, you can tell like there's already a ton of enhancements made in this screen alone with the game over screen. Like in the original game over screen, like you had to wait for a really long time. But nowadays, now we made it such that you can immediately get started by just tapping the buttons at the bottom here to try again, or the main to get started. If you were to hit the reboot button, I didn't demonstrate this earlier. If you were to hit the reboot button, you'll return back to the main screen and you'll have to tap start again. But we did add in a try again that immediately boots you to the game without even bothering to do that. More info, it provides some more information here, like previously mentioned. We did add in statistics. It tells me that I've succeeded 5 times and failed 3 times. In hard mode, I mentioned earlier, these have different difficulties. Hard mode 4 times, and 2 times here, and challenge mode I failed once. Yeah, challenge mode being you play it 3 times over. So this here kind of keeps the statistics. We also have like this best score statistics here, and you can, as mentioned earlier, kind of practice it. Wow, this game is really creepy without any music. So the game over screen, like to me, like I thought it was a good idea to remove music entirely if you're practicing from the game over screen versus if you're practicing from the main menu. It's like cry in your failure or something or other. I don't know. I just kind of like this random touch, but you know, maybe that's just me patting myself in the back. All right, so we obviously, the pause menu is always visible within when you're like actually playing the original game. So like right here, you can actually see it. So that's that. So that's the demo in a nutshell. As like our expansion, you can kind of read this here, but our expansion includes like an actual shop that you can go to. I am scrolling past this without bothering. Like the expansion that we're planning on making for this game obviously includes a shop that easily doubles, more than doubles, in fact, the number of mini games that we have from the demo. And it's certainly definitely more than the ones that we had in the prototype as well. I think we're also going to be adding a couple of upgrades. Actually, you know, we're still working on the full version. There's about a few months of work left, and those are all just leftover upgrades that we plan on adding in to really enhance the gameplay of the game. You know, something to make it easier to also not like make the digital currency money Zenny that we have in the game, as well as a couple of things where it would make getting a higher score in the game a lot easier. So that's going to be in plans as well. And yeah, those are currently what we have planned in a nutshell for that. Oh yeah, the leaderboards. So the leaderboards will be supported in the initial release. Achievements will be coming next. That one takes a little more time because of the more complexity of actually programming it in, as well as discussing and planning. Because once you have like the achievements in there, there's no stepping back. So we want to take a little more time on that regards. But leaderboards at the very least will be supported. And yeah, that's basically just it. I know that this was a pretty short stream. Normally we go for 2 hours long on the development, but since since you know this is more about showing off what we have so far with our game, I did expect this to be a lot more shorter. I did not expect to score like 100 though, to be honest. Couple of other quirky things, like, you know, clone of, you can click on this and it'll open it'll open that URL on a web page. It's not doing that right now. I guess it doesn't do that for Cookie Clicker. Strange. I wonder why that is. Okay, it's working for Flappy Bird, so I guess for some reason it doesn't work on some games. That's on me to figure out why that is. Yeah, not much else to add. You've been invited to a marvelous gala at the school filled with the most insecure creatures this side of the island of misfit animals. Keep your furry friends happy by letting them know just how much they mean to you before time runs out and they run off with their heads hung in shame. I always like that. Okay, so without further ado, that's going to be it for today. I'll need to figure out what